Hey creators, welcome back to the club. We're your hosts. I'm Akila Friend.
And I'm Ebony Chapman.
And today, guys, if you are watching on YouTube, you can see that we are joined by the fabulous, the amazing plus size influencer and author, Charmaine, Charmant. And yes, as she says, that's her real name. Okay. all of the above. I get that all the time too. So I have to clarify when I need to. So Charmaine, welcome to the club. We are so happy to have you.
Thank you, ladies. I'm so happy to be
here. Yes. And I love when worlds collide. So Charmaine, I've known you since middle school, high school, Lord, since middle school. So it's crazy to see like how, paths have unwinded and how you've really just kind of turned your story into something that folks can really emulate. So as much as we can like provide this as a platform for you to just show off your stuff, like strut your stuff and all of that, we're here to do that. So happy to have you and would love for you to just share a little bit more toward the people just about yourself and what do you do?
Thank you, Akila. Yeah, it's really nice to be here on your podcast. It's so nice to see what you've done and what you've built for yourself along with Ebony. So thank you so much for having me. And I've always loved fashion. Growing up, I was always a curvy girl, as you can attest to, Akila. I've always been like on the thicker side. So for me, I fell in love with fashion through my mom. Like we used to go shopping all the time. And like back when we were in like middle school and high school, we didn't have like plus size for like juniors. Like there was no such thing as Forever 21 Plus, like, and all the brands that we now see on the scene, which is amazing to see. But when I was coming up, like that was not a thing. So my mom and I used to go shopping together and she would teach me how to shop for my body. And we would spend like hours upon hours in the dressing room. And that's really where like my passion for fashion really started. And then, as I was going through high school and college and thinking about internships, I was like, I want to go for this. Like, I want to do fashion. And so it was hard, but, I finally got my foot in the door at J. Crew. And that was like my first taste, that internship of what fashion would entail. And after that internship, I remember one day these merchants were like laughing at this blogger girl. She, Man Repeller, she's a huge blogger now, makes lots of money. But they were laughing at her. And I was like, they're laughing at this girl, but what she's doing is really cool. And that was like when I first thought, I want to start a blog. So like, I was in college and I just like started my blog on like WordPress or Blogger or one of those. And I just like started taking pictures around my college campus with friends. And I didn't really think it was going to be anything. I just thought that, it would just be a cool way to express myself. And fast forward, not too many years later, because I'm still super young, but fast forward, and now I have this like beautiful community where I'm able to uplift women of all shapes and sizes, of all backgrounds, and to help them feel confident. And, the confidence piece really has become like the biggest part of what I do. I think it's the common thread through all the like things that I do, whether it's blogging or working with brands or with my books. It's really about instilling confidence in women, because I think that's another thing that, through my mother, I was able to feel comfortable in my own skin through fashion and other things. And it really, as I'm sharing these outfits, it's not necessarily the outfits that people are like, I mean, obviously, like I always look nice and like I try to, have a standard of, fashion, but it's not really the outfits. I think what I see in my comments are, oh my gosh, your confidence. Oh my gosh, I wish I could be this confident. Oh my gosh. And to me, it breaks my heart to know that women are walking around, we're such like divine beings and we're feeling less than in our own skin because of what we might have seen on TV or what we might have heard or who we're comparing ourselves to. So that's really like what I feel like my calling in life really is just through example and now through like other endeavors, like the books, I've been able to kind of like, share my passion for instilling confidence in women. But that's really what I do. Like, I like to think of it as like, if you come to like any of my platforms, like you'll get like a daily dose of fashion and positivity.
We love that. And I think that confidence is key. I feel like we've talked about it a few times. We always bring it up because it is definitely something that is true. My question is kind of like, how now being in mainstream, being in society for like plus size women, they don't always make it easy for the acceptance, for you know, any type of positive reassurance. So how have you been able to like find confidence, keep confidence? You know, if you're saying people are coming to your page and being like, wow, I didn't even know that this was a thing. Like, wow, she over here, she really bringing all the confidence. Like, what are you doing to keep that energy going? Because I'm assuming it can't be easy. There's so many avenues of negativity. So how do you stay grounded in that space?
Yeah, I mean, negativity is like, I think that's something that you have to like fight against every day, right? Like, I feel like our brains are programmed to like look for problems and like look for issues. Like, that's what the brain functioning is. And you have to like remember, like, oh, like when you're thinking like a negative thought, you have to remember, like, oh, that's not me. Like, you know, that's just like my program running and I need to just like shut it down. But, you know, I think the confidence piece, I mean, I think a lot of things played a role in my confidence. And I think Akila, like, we have such similar upbringing. So like this question, when she was talking about it, I just thought about like Deerfield and boarding school and having to like navigate all of these. We grew up in a time where like, I think we have such similar upbringings. We grew up like super academic rigor, like also West Indian background where like, I think, let's start there, right? So like growing up, like in a Caribbean household, like there's such a strong standard that you have to reach. And so I definitely felt like I was always striving to be like my best self. But then there was also this like, for me, there was also this feeling of like acceptance of 100% for who you are, like your beauty. Like I never felt like I wasn't beautiful in my home. And I never had any of those like limiting beliefs around how I looked until I went away or left the house, right? Going to boarding school at the age of 14, like was really tough as a child from Brooklyn in the inner city, having to like be going to school with the 1%, like literally nobody looks like you except for Akila, who's like the other Black girl there. Like, you know, I feel like I had to definitely, and then going to a PWI, like it kind of forces you from an early age to realize, oh, I don't look like everybody else. Oh, I don't have the same clothes as everybody else. Oh, I'm not wearing, Tory Burch was like a big thing. I'm not wearing the Tory Burch sandals. Like, so now what? I'm still in the same classroom, right? I still have to be here every day. So now what, right? Like, am I gonna sit here and feel defeated every day and like make myself small? Or am I gonna like stand in my power and you know, realize, okay, I don't have that, but I'm still here and I'm gonna join the step team and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna get accepted to Columbia. I didn't go to Columbia, but Akila did. She got accepted to Columbia, she got accepted to all those, you know what I mean? And then those people look at you and then they're like, oh, you know, then they want what you have, right? But what you have is within. And that's the thing. It's like, it's all within. So now these days, like, of course, I'm not 100% confident all the time. But for me, the way that I kind of hold on to my confidence is I really pay attention to who I surround myself with, right? It's like, I don't surround myself with people who are always negative or always in like victimhood mentality. Like, I don't do that. And I also recently, now that I'm approaching my late 20s, early 30s. Yeah.
I love it.
Approaching my 30s, I have really been listening because I think, you know, the media really does women a disservice. Like they push all these things towards us when you're turning 30 and now you're thinking about Botox, which, you know, whatever. Now you're thinking about BBLs, now you're thinking about all this stuff that you literally were not thinking about before. And we as Black women don't need to think about until I think we're like 50. But anyway, you have all these things coming at you. And what I've done is I actually follow women who are older than me, who have what I want, and who seem like have the same energy that I have, like very relaxed, very chill, very calm in their own skin. And I follow those women. And I talk to older women in my life. And that's really how I keep myself grounded. And whenever I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling like anxious, that really kind of brings me back down to earth. And I think that we as women, and that's what I do for younger women and for older women who are in my communities, but you know, that's what I do for myself, right? Like, I feel like as women, we really, if you're not following older women, if you're not like interacting or seeing the value that older women have, you're really doing yourself a disservice, you know?
So true. And like literally, like you said, there's so much commonality there. Like I was,
Mhm.
as we're talking, I'm reminded of my mom. Literally last week, she just randomly out the blue just tells me like, Akila, are you I'm not even doing her accent the right way, but Akila, are you
Yeah.
are you confident in yourself? Are you confident? And she just, I was like, yes, I'm confident. Are you? And she's like, yes, of course. Like, why would I not be confident? And it's one of those things where it's like, yes, you have to be that way. You have to be that way. And it's okay to not be all the time, but at least to just, you know, remind yourself like you are enough in a lot of ways. And so I completely understand what you're saying. But at the flip side, I sometimes when folks ask you or say like, man, you're so confident and this and that, I'm kind of like, yeah, why should I not be? And I think about Lizzo, for instance, how folks,
Yeah.
you know, since we're, you know, talking about plus size and all that, one of the things that for folks who are pro Lizzo are kind of like, wow, she's just so confident. I can't believe she can do this. I'm like, why can she not do this? Like, of course, why she's just literally living her life in the same way that someone else would live it. But because it's her and because of how she looks, you know, folks are attributing that to confidence versus like, I just want to be, you know? So I just
Right.
I want to get your perspective on that and like, you know, your definition of plus size. Like, what do you even define as that? Because I think it's different for certain people in different groups too.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, that's such a good question, Akila. Very good question. Plus size, I would say that like plus size, I think that in my experience,
Yeah.
for me, I would say I'm plus size because I can go into a store and it's not like I could shop with my friends, right? Like when I was in high school, it was like, yeah, let's go shopping, but I would always be looking for like shoes or accessories because I would know that like, you know, only certain stores, like maybe major department stores would carry the size that I wear. Even till this day, like I can't go into Zara. Well, like if I go into Zara, I would have to pick something that's like a kimono or something oversized and say, oh, this might fit. Or like a really stretchy dress and say, oh, this might fit. It's not like I could just shop the rack. And so that's in person. And so that's what I would say. Like if you are someone who you can't find your size, like if you were just to walk into a store randomly with your friends, then like, I mean, that's what I would define as plus size, you know? And
That's a way to think about it. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's what has been my experience. And for, you know, what you said about just being, women just being, I think that that's like a big, I love that you brought that up because I think that's like a big trend, like currently, like in not the femininity landscape, especially like the Black femininity landscape. Like it's like, oh, why are we like forcing ourselves to like work? Like why are we like, you know, why are we doing the things the way that we're doing? And why do we look down on people who just want to be, who just want to live their life, who don't want to you know, follow the path that everyone else is following? And to that, I would say I am definitely still working through that myself, right? Like I feel like I'm someone who has played it really smart and like had my fun on the side and I've been able to like make it work. But as I think about my career, right, because I still work 9 to 5 in consulting, I've lately been thinking like, okay, like what's holding me back from letting go of that traditional thing that brings me so much pride and joy, and that because other people validate me, and like what's keeping me from going full throttle over here where like it's a different kind of validation. It's like work that I feel like I'm called to do, but I'm still like, ooh, I still feel wobbly in that energy, right? I still feel like, ooh, like I can't do it yet. And so, I mean, that's something that I think we all deal with. And it's so funny because I always preach like, oh, forget what people think and like forget what people da, 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 da. But you know, in practice, it takes time. And I'm hoping that in my 30s, like as a woman, I can find really like align 100% with, you know, where I need to be and like let go of that like security. But again, as women, I think we're naturally always going to be worried about our security, right? So like I don't like try to put myself down because of this, because I know like as a woman, I'm always going to want to feel secure. And so that's why I'm trying to get married. And I feel 100% comfortable saying
keep it real. Keep it real.
That's what we do here at the Black Creators Club. Keep it all the way 100, okay?
Because yeah, that's really how I feel. And yeah. I mean, we can do it ourselves, you know, but it would be nice.
Listen, we know what it is. We know what it is. we know what it is. Don't even worry about it.
Right. You're not talking to like we all on the same page, sis. It ain't
good.
Right. We're here for the feminine power, but at the same time, we want a man. So it's fine.
Right.
It's fine.
I feel, and there's a balance. I feel like there's nothing wrong with being like a really great alpha, like, woman, and finding your partner and be like, oh, this is great. Like, it goes together, right? Like, it's not an either or. And I feel like it has become an either or. And I feel like that's a little weird too.
Yeah. As we continue to just talk about like plus size and in the space, you're on social media and your following's insane, but how have you found the community that is supportive? And do you feel like, from what you've seen and what you've experienced on social or in society, that there's a different light shed on Black women, Black plus size women versus other races? Is it like other brand deals? Do you see that like they're in different spaces? Do you like what have you noticed that you're like, like y'all doing plus size, but y'all not really doing it right, or y'all doing it, but like,
yeah. I mean, plus size bodies, like there's so much. I think Black women are always fighting. We're always gonna be the ones that are considered last, unfortunately. Like, I think, not always, I shouldn't say that, but we have been, the group that has had to really work overtime to be recognized, even though I feel like Black creators are the ones that set the trends always. Like, and we are the culture. And, I think now like brands are waking up, but I don't even, when you see like this wave of brands like jumping on the bandwagon or finally acknowledging Black creators, I kind of always try to wait to see if that's going to be something that has like longevity, So I don't know. In the plus size community, there's a lot. I feel like, I think for me, people are always like, oh, why do you want to like force your body on people? Like, why do you want to like, some creators are like very out that, like they love to share like, their bodies, like Lizzo, and some, like to be like more on the luxe side, and like some, I feel like plus size is not a monolith, right? Like, just like anything, just like Black people are not a monolith, just like women are not a monolith. And I feel like people try to push that narrative on plus size women. And I think we just gotta stop policing people and what they're doing. Like, some women want to show their body, cool. Some women want to do this, great. Like, just let people be. I think there's a lot of, I think people are too worried about other people and not worried about themselves enough, right? Like, like that's what I think causes a lot of like divisiveness across any group. But yeah, wait, what was the rest of your question? I think I answered
that. No, you answered it.
You did. And I think something else that Eb was saying too, and I want to make sure that we delve deep on, because you said you started your blog in some capacity. I know I've seen the journey, right? Yeah. You started your blog in some capacity in college, right? But now fast forward to 2022, you're at over 30K following on Instagram, over 15K on TikTok, like bomb. And so we want to just talk a little bit more about the journey, especially knowing that you're carving a space for plus size women, for yourself, for confidence, for self-love, like really carving a space on the internet that is yours and that you can share within a community like you that just wants to see you thrive. So like, let's talk a little bit more about that journey and how you've been able to kind of evolve and just finally find that correct branding, right? Because I think that's it's just finding what the hell are we going to talk about day after day, year after year. And now that you found that, so just talk about the journey for a little bit for folks.
That's a real great question. I think I always knew like plus size fashion was what I knew best, right? And I think that's what people were coming to me in real life. They'd be like, oh, where'd you get this? Like, oh, girl, like, where'd you go shopping? And I was like, okay, this is like what people come to me for. This is what I'm going to share is like my outfits, right? And then I was like sharing my outfits here and there. And as you know, I like took a break. Like I was working in fashion after graduation and I hated it. And it kind of trickled over to my blog and I kind of took a break. And then when I moved to DC, I picked it back up. And I decided, I was like, okay, I'm just like, you know, some people were posting every day. Some people were posting like, you know, once in a while. I knew I wanted to show up. I just didn't know how often I wanted to show up. And I didn't really, when I was starting in DC, I think this was like 2016, I just like took pictures on the weekends with my friends, or I would like, you know, and we went on a trip together and you see, like, I would just take pictures on the beach or like get a friend to do it, or like we'll swap out and take pictures of each other and post, and I'd make a blog post about it. And it wasn't necessarily, I didn't necessarily have a cadence. I just knew I wanted to show up a couple of times a week. And I still don't have I got a cadence, like, you know, as the years went on, I was like, okay, I'm going to post like every day. There was a time where I was posting every day. But I think the most growth that I experienced, as you said, Akila, was when I was like, okay, forget, like, the outfits are cute, but like, what am I really sharing? You know, because I was sick of just like taking pictures of outfits and it just didn't feel like me. And so I remember one day I was just like, how am I adding value? Like, the outfits are cool, but I'm not like the best like outfit put together, you know? So I was like, what am I really bringing here? And I was like, you know, I think I've always had like a positive outlook, like great energy, and it wasn't really shining through in my content until I really sat down and I was like, okay, because like my friends, they would always come to my house and would talk, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, every time we talk, like, I feel like, you know, you're speaking life into me. And I was like, I'm going to do that for my audience. Like, I'm going to start sharing stuff like around confidence. I'm going to start sharing a little bit more about how I feel. And I feel like when you're more authentic, that's really when your following grows, right? And it doesn't like, I mean, yes, you need to show up consistently, but I really think that authenticity is the name of the game. And I think in the last couple of years, we've seen that with like the rise of like apps like TikTok, where people are just like not even no makeup, like they're just showing up in their day to day, like, you know, or if you're good looking, people will watch you. But like most people are like showing up day to day, just sharing their experience, sharing their stories. And like people love to see people who are just like them going through the same thing. And I think that, you know, authenticity is really what helped me to grow. I'm thinking about like the big moments where I've seen a spike in growth have been either when I was sharing how I was feeling about like Black Lives Matter, and my white friend was like ignoring all of my stories, but then like hit me up about some random thing I posted and it made me so angry. And I was like, I'm gonna post about this, you know, like certain things where like moments of like real raw, like I'm just gonna share my thoughts, and like it's out of character for me because I'm always like, I think I always kind of have like an air of like professionalism. But so like when I do have that moment where I'm like, listen to what this girl did, people are like, oh my God, you know? So like, I think authenticity really is the name of the game, especially now that we're seeing like Gen Z come on the scene. They're not looking for like the content that we were looking for, you know, like we came up when like everything was glitz and glam on Instagram, perfect photos, like perfect like videos. And now it's all about like showing, you know, the real raw truth. So I would say that was like a big factor for the moments where I saw growth.
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of like it going back to just being all natural, because Akila and I have this conversation at least once a week, at least. Yeah. Okay. It's like, what are we posting on social? What does it look like? And I know Akila, like she took her break and she's, you know, doing her thing, but I'm like, sis, we take tons of photos. We literally do a tons of things on the weekends together. Yeah. Why are you not posting this? Wait, this is a cute photo. Why have you not done it? And she's just like, I don't know what I'm saying, what I'm doing. Like she has to, you know, and I get it because you do want to feel like a connection to your content. But at the same time, it's like, people sometimes are not even looking that deeply into it. They're just kind of like, what are you showing me today? Because again, like with TikTok, everything's quick and fast. So it's like, whatever you think you're sharing in this 1 second, it's going to be moved on to something else the next minute. So it's like, post what you feel. Like if you feel like you want to post something and it connects to you and you're like, this photo was fire, or this video content is amazing, or I have something to say about this, like I say do it. And I feel like Charmaine's saying, like, that's kind of the energy that everyone is on. It's kind of like, yeah, like I want to do this little comment about Rihanna being naked during her pregnancy. I'm gonna talk about it, you know, like whatever.
Yeah. People are all, I want to talk about that, but I want to say that I understand when you're saying like Akila's like hesitant about posting. I was talking to my friend the other day. I also have that. Like I honestly,
same.
100% honest. I think I could have twice the following if I wasn't like, if I didn't say, oh, I'm not gonna post this, or like, oh, I like, or I could never do that, because I do second guess myself. And I think that's the difference between millennials and Gen Z. I think like we have a lot of anxiety around posting. Like my friend told me the other day, she's like, I don't know what it is, but I feel so anxious about posting to the feed. Like I feel so anxious about posting a picture. Like, what's my brand? And I'm like, oh my God, like I get it because it's me too. But like, this is why like there are TikTokers who are like 12 years old, like making millions of dollars, and we're just like steadily like growing, you know? And like, it sucks, but like, I think it's because we were like, you know, we came up in the age where like everything is like perfect and you want to have the perfect feed. And that's not what they care about these days. And it's like, it's hard to find a balance, you know, it's hard to kind of train yourself out of that, you know, especially when you're someone who's a perfectionist. You have your, you know, you have your podcast, you have your community, like you really want things to be like beautiful and spick and span, but that's just not how things are these days. And
but everyone's judging you too, right? Like, that gives the
anxiety. Not even the judgment too, but it's more so like knowing, at least for me, my reasoning is more so it's definitely a mixture of like, I think all of what you're saying and what you both are saying, because it's true, but also like the idea of consistency. Because I know for me, when I start, I don't want to stop, right? So when I put it out, I'm like, I want to be able to keep going. And the second thing, it's because it's so intertwined. Like I work in the media industry, I do podcasting, now I'm doing social, that I'm like, everything is connected to the other. Maybe it's not that deep, but everything seems some level of connection. But I love it because I think what y'all are saying, which is what I'm going to take to heart, is like, listen, just Nike, just do it, and that's it. Just see what happens and just put it out. But
and what's been helping me is like remembering that, okay, like I think this is another thing that like I had to really like remember, is that like we're on social media and we share things, but that's not you, and like that's just what you're sharing, and like that's, you know, like separating your real life from like social media. And I think we started to feel like our social media is us. And it's not. Like you have a whole different personality, like no one's seeing, you know what I mean? And to me, like knowing that, oh, my private life is private, and like no matter what people think they know about me, like that's only 5% of my being, like that makes me feel a little better, because I'm like, oh, whatever, I can post whatever, like who cares, you know? But I always try to remind myself that, like, Charmaine, don't like overthink it. Like it's just for fun. Like some people say once things are on the internet, it's on the internet, but who cares? Everything's on the internet, you know? Like, yeah.
Super valid. I love that. I love that. And so like, and y'all are gonna have me posting every day now, all right?
Akila and the V.
Again, like, don't do that. Don't do that.
She's like, I'll wait to see it.
Yes.
I love it though. I'm here for my girl. If she's confident about it, I'm here for it. I back her up no matter what. So whatever she got.
I also think like some of my favorite influencers, like I said, I listen to a lot of women. I watch this girl on YouTube and I love her. But like she doesn't show up every day. She'll show up twice a week. She'll show up once a week. But if what you're giving to someone, right, like is gonna help them, they're gonna be like, where's my girl Akila on Thursday? You know, like, so I hate when people say post every day, because I'm just like, that's just like, to me, like, I think that's for the young people who don't have anything to do, right? Like, which is great. Like, they should capitalize on that, you know? But like, I really think like, find what works for you and show up authentically in those moments and you'll be fine.
I love that. I love that. I feel like this is a lesson for so many people, myself included. So we're gonna go on this journey together, y'all. Another thing.
I feel like social is like a lifelong journey at this point.
It is.
What I've seen, because I had never thought it would be this way, like in high school, and now I'm like, oh, it's like now $1 billion industry, and like it's only growing. Like, so if, everyone has their platform and everyone has the chance to build an audience authentically. So just look at it as like, this is not like a race, it's like a marathon.
Yes, love that. You know what else is a marathon for you? You are a whole published author, honey. You are a published author.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's exciting. Let's talk. I'm going to read the titles of the 2 books so for you guys, and we'll link it below for y'all to go ahead and grab it. But the first one is Empowered, a journal for teen girls. And the second one is a 5-minute gratitude journal for teen girls. And so obviously the through line here, there's a couple, but one of the phrases, teen girls. And so I want to just ask you, like, what made you decide to focus on teen girls for your audience?
Yeah, I mean, when I started blogging, I was a teen, but I'm older. I was like, I want to do something, like, I want to be the voice that I needed to hear, like, outside of my family, outside of my friends, outside of, like, outside of my insecurities. Like, I want to be the voice. I wanted to be the voice for young girls that I wish I had from another girl who looked like me, who was like doing something that I would probably want to be doing. And so that's what I really want to do. I think teen girls have always had it hard, but I can't even imagine what it's like to be a teenager, like growing up in the age of like social media, euphoria. Like, I'm watching this stuff and I'm like mentoring this girl from my church, and she's telling me all the stories about what the girls are doing in her school, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, and if we're feeling the pressure of social media and seeing all these women in their 20s and 30s going to do all these like scary surgeries and things just to like fit in, I can't imagine what these girls are contemplating. Like, I struggled so much with like eating disorder, like body dysmorphia when I was younger. And I'm just like, I'm happy that that kind of like fed into something positive in my life, and like I can like make money off that now. But like, imagine, like there's so many people who it doesn't end up working that way. And I just wanted to kind of be that voice for them. And I think mindset is a big thing that, I mean, I've always kind of felt like I had a positive mindset, but especially in the pandemic, like it really takes mindfulness to kind of, get you on a right path. Like, it's such a slippery slope when negativity seeps in. And so that's what I really wanted to do, is like bring some daily practices for teen girls to use to just get them on the right foot, like for the day, like even if it's for 5 minutes, even if it's just an affirmation they can read, just something to kind of get them in the right headspace. Because I feel like, I think we're just so far gone as women in terms of like Western culture and like what we're telling women that they need to be through ads and social media posts and like all kinds of stuff, And for me, like, if I'm looking at these older women, I'm getting advice from them, I'm like, what can I give to these younger girls? Like, I'm not gonna tell them to go get fillers and like, I want to tell them something that's like a practice that they could use for the rest of their lives, Like, these are quick fixes. I feel like we're being fed all these quick fixes, and that's not really where the work begins. Like, you could do all the outer work you want, but like, if you're not good within, like, you're gonna be struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, honestly, you touched on a lot of things. And I always think about when we talk about like social media and like being young, my dad's like, oh my God, we didn't have any of this stuff. Like, we would just go and ride a bike and like run around and do this, that, and the third. Like, he was like, everything was just so simple. And now you guys have to like worry about this and worry about that. And it is true. I think as society, as we continue to grow, it's kind of like, I feel like we have like a lot of young entrepreneurs. Like, you have like the 8-year-old that's like selling putty that now is like a millionaire. And you're like, wait, what is going on? And then you start contemplating your life. Like, did I not start early enough? Like, what am I doing here? Like, how am I this age? You have a 12-year-old making dolls and now they're like, it's crazy. So I feel like the amount of pressure on that end, but then the pressure with like beauty and like Kim K and like, everyone's looking the same. And you're right. Like, the girls, as a teenage girl, I'm just trying to think of like what it was like for me, like growing up and being in that space. I can't remember it being for me too crazy in that like social media space, because social media like just came out in 2012. Like Instagram was like, really new.
MySpace was a thing though. If you were not
MySpace was a new, I wasn't on MySpace. That's why I'm not like
I was.
Yeah, I wasn't on MySpace.
Top 8.
Yes. My song was popping.
Yeah. Oh, you saw the song, girls? Oh my God, that's hilarious. But like, yeah, I think it's amazing to know what you're doing, because it is super positive. It's something that teens do need, young people need, not just like, it's not just like girls in general, but like young people need great mentors and people to look up to be like, you don't have to do this. Like, you don't have to go down this space. Like, there's other things in the world to do besides being an influencer. Like, there's other things in the space besides, looking on the internet to like get validation from people. You have to look within, like you're saying. So, I mean, what has kind of been the responses from like your book so far, since like you've been selling it, or the girl that you're mentoring? Like, how has that been going for you?
I get a lot of messages from like parents, moms who are like, I bought the book, like friends who bought the books for like their cousins or their nieces. And honestly, I just feel so, I feel so happy, and I feel so grateful, that I'm glad that like this is a message that people think needs to be put out there. And, I think if we can just start to plant the seed for people in general that, hey, comparison is a thief of joy. Like, you need to look within to understand who you are and what you want, and that you're already worthy just because you're here. I think that's so important, because then people can find, like, once they have that seed and they have that mindset, then they can go out and find exactly what they need to be looking for. For instance, like when I was younger, my narrative in my head was, in the same vein that I was like, oh, I always look nice and I'm really confident and I'm great. When I was struggling with like, oh, I want to lose weight, when I'm skinny, I'll be able to do X, Y, Z. That's when I was seeking out all the wrong things. I was looking for the diet pills. I was looking for, the quick fixes. I wasn't looking for the woman who was 20 something who could tell me, oh, girl, that's not what you need to be doing. Like, come over here, we're going to teach you. Right. So if we can plant the seed in young people's minds, like, oh, there's other things in life and there are other ways to like find happiness, and like, you don't have to like change yourself. Actually, it's all within you already. Then they can say, oh, like, I remember what that girl said, like, oh, I wonder if there's someone else out here who's like sharing that. Or I wonder if there's an older woman who can give me, even more inner work, or even more like, practices that I can do to like really find my confidence. Like, I feel like that's really what we want to do, right? Because social media isn't going away, and like, not everything on social media is bad, right? Like, I think I'm good. Like, like, I think other people have platforms that are great. We just need to share the light and like focus less on the darkness, right? Like, forget what those people are saying. Like, okay, people are doing X, Y, Z. That has nothing to do with me. I'm over here, So that's what I think, I've been really happy to see that a lot of people are like having such positive responses to the book, because to me, that means that I'm on the right path. Because for myself, and I'm like, okay, good, like, I'm not crazy. But then also like, this is work that can have an impact. And that's really what I want to do. Like, I don't want to be on here. Like, of course, I love fashion and all that. So I think fashion is beautiful. I think it's great. But I want to be here, like, leaving people feeling better, because like, that's how I would want to feel,
Yeah, I love that. And you're saying, like, I think there was one point that you made that I really liked. It's like, it's kind of on the notion of like, whatever you want is out here in this world. If you want positivity, you will find it. If you want negativity, you will find it. If you want to be that negative person, there will be other folks that will continue to commiserate with you. Or if you want to be that light, there will be folks who are seeking that. And so I think it's so powerful. And I think also, I want to make sure that we touch on the fact that, again, you're a published author. Like, that doesn't, you don't just write a couple pages and put it out there. That's just what happens.
Yeah, I got an ebook.
You know what I'm saying?
No shade,
it's not like,
I know shade, because I love ebooks. bucks.
But this ain't that. This ain't that. That's what it is. And so talk about the process a little bit. Like, did you have to, go back in your diary and say, what was I thinking when I was 14, 15? Did you talk to other folks that are teenage women? Did you go to a publishing house? Like, talk about the journey, because I think this is something a lot of folks might want to do, but not knowing how to.
Yeah, so I actually was approached by the publishing company, and they were like, we think that, which is like crazy. A lot of stuff happened over the pandemic. This happened during the pandemic as well. So like a lot of things happened during the pandemic that I think like I have been manifesting for so many years, but then I forgot that I was like working towards these things, and then they just fell at my doorstep, and I was like, but yeah, they approached me and they were like, we think that you would be a great fit for this kind of book. Like, would you be interested? And so that's really kind of like how it got started. And then while I was writing, I really bounced a lot of ideas off of my sister and my mom, because those are two like women that I felt like, I really look up to them. Like my sister is like, people think I'm so confident. My sister is like she's just 100% herself all the time. And it's such an admirable thing to see. And then my mom taught me everything I knew. So it was during the pandemic, so I couldn't really like go out and like get inspiration. But like, yeah, I spoke to them. I tried to think about myself when I was like 13, 14, like what I needed to hear. I thought about myself now and like what I need to hear now. And like a lot of affirmations that I say to myself, I put in those books, I think it's 14 girls, but I really do think that the books transcend age, right? Like it's for anyone who really needs like a mindset check. Some of the things in there for teen girls when thinking about their family, like thinking about like teenage angst and the things that I went through, like I put that in there. But I really wanted it to be something that like, if a mom picked it up for her teen girl and like started reading, she would be like, oh, like, this is something that I could do, I think affirmations are amazing. I post them every day on my story. Like I try to post like positive things. I try to like also check my limiting beliefs, because like we all have limiting beliefs around all kinds of things. And so every day I'm like working and I'm like, the things that I think, I'm like, is that true? Or is that just me being scared? Or is that me just putting pressure on things? And then I try to show up authentically. Like even on this, like I can say, I'm doing all these cool things, but I could be doing better. Like, like things like that. Like, I just feel like being real with yourself, being 100 with yourself, asking yourself these questions, like feeding yourself positivity. Like we have so much power, especially as women. And I hate that we've been made to feel like we have to fight and struggle and do all these things, when really like we really have to just calm down and chill and like really develop a relationship with ourselves. I feel like a lot of people don't have a relationship with themselves. Like you don't speak to yourself. Like I feel like, and when you do speak to yourself, it's like negative and you're putting yourself down. I feel like we've all felt that, especially in the pandemic. And then you're comparing yourself to other people who have nothing to do with your path or your journey in life. And it's a mess. And I feel like everything I'm doing through my work, I'm trying to kind of like, I'm not trying to like put it in their face and be like, you're doing things wrong. I'm just trying to say like, hey, what if we like started the day with an affirmation? Like, just engage with the poll. Let's see how you feel. Like, let's see if you come back. Like, and if you don't come back, that's cool. Like, like it's just about just shifting the narrative ever so slightly every single day.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. I think putting the positivity in the air is like something that is needed, because I think you just go through like your day to day and just kind of forget about.
No, we're not robots.
Yeah.
But we become little like hamsters in a wheel. It's too much.
We are little hamsters at times, because you get into the rut, like you're just so comfortable. You're like, I get up every day, I go to work, I work out. If you're doing that, if you're eating right or eating lunch, whatever it is, and half the time you're not even thinking about like what you're putting in your body or what you're watching on TV. Like it just everything comes second nature and you just forget. So sometimes I think the positivity energy, like it also gets missed. And so then there you are with another thing of like, you get in this space and you're like, how did I get here? Like you wake up, you're like, like I'm negative. Why am I negative? And then it's like, you miss that whole extra step in between all the things because you're like running around trying to like balance everything else.
I think the people who are doing the best work, like the best positivity work, like all that stuff, like some people really get a formula down and it's really good. But I think, you know, bloggers who are actually, and vloggers and influencers and whoever, like the people who are actually trying to put like good things into the world, they have like the smallest followings. Like you'll see like my favorite YouTuber, like she hasn't even hit 100K yet. And I'm like, her content has blown my mind. Like, you know, and so, and that's the
What's
thing.
her name? Give her a little shout out. What's her?
The Universe Guru. I love her.
Yes.
You like that? I love her. But like her work, I'm like, why doesn't she have like 1 million followers by now? But like the people who are actually doing, like putting real good work out there, like it takes people time, because people are caught up in like, people want the drama and they want the, you know, they want the instant dopamine hit. Like they don't want to do the work. Like people don't want to do the inner work until it's time for them to actually do it. Like they don't want to like heal themselves from within or like try to be positive until they have nothing else to do but be that, because they're at rock bottom, because they've been chasing after like crazy, you know, social standards and like comparing themselves to other people until they're like mentally ill. So like, you know, it's sad, but you know, but that's why I say it's a long game, right? Like, you know, some of my favorite influencers have been doing their thing for the longest time and now they're finally reaping the rewards. And like, you know, I think that it's just a journey, and like you just have to always remember, like, I think it's great when someone else, I think the comparison game sucks, but I think it's great when you can appreciate like, okay, this person got there, like I can do it too, you know. Like I think it's good to be able to appreciate other people's journeys and just remember that like when it's your time, it'll be your time, and it doesn't need to be a thing of like, oh my God, I need to like do this or do that, because you just don't know what's going on in the background, right? Like, and it's just none of your business.
You know what is our business though? The fact that you were featured on XO Nicole, honey. So there you shared your own journey to self-love. I'm gonna read a little excerpt because I thought it was really like, I loved it.
Yeah.
So for those who didn't get a chance to check it out after this. But you said, pretty much what you're saying now. I started paying attention to everything, the people I was surrounding myself with, the media that I was consuming, and how different situations made me feel. I eliminated all the bad energy in my life and stopped frequenting spaces that made me feel undervalued. I engaged in physical activity that made me feel confident and rested when I needed to. All right. And I mean, this is just the formula for life, to be honest, but I think it's sometimes easier said than done, sometimes easier writing than doing. And so I think I think I can speak for everyone on this call, just on this podcast episode, like on this journey of just being their best self, right? Thinking about the environment that makes me feel in their best self. Like, you know, I'm on my East Coast tour because I'm thinking through like, no, where am I going to be valued because I know I'm valuable, like that whole thing. And so like thinking of that in all aspects of your life, I think is important. And so like, just what made you, did you hit a rock bottom moment to make you then say like, no, I need to really assess this? Or was this always your journey? Just talk about how did you finally get to this space to really like take inventory of your life and make those changes?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always kind of been a little sensitive to like how people made me feel. Maybe it's because I'm like a Gemini Cancer, I don't know, but like I think or maybe I'm an empath. Like I just feel like I'm such a good reader of energy, and I just never really liked negativity. But I think when did I write that? I think I wrote that a couple years ago for XO Nicole. And the post that I wrote that was based on, I wrote that when I was living in DC. And oh, you know what? Yeah, I had a couple of friendships back then that I felt like were holding me back. Not that I think anyone else can hold you back, but I think, you know, I think I did have a couple of friendships where I did have to like end them and let them go. With love and light. It doesn't need to, I don't ever think anything needs to be like dramatic and like horrible. But yeah, I think in my mid-20s, I think I was like, there were a lot of changes that I made. I moved from DC. Like I just felt like I felt like I was on autopilot, and I kind of felt like not that I was losing myself, but I just felt like I wasn't living up to my full potential. And I had to wonder why, because I was doing everything that I thought was right. Like I had a great job, like I was living in a nice apartment, like, you know, all these things that were like checks off the list. But then I was like, okay, but like, what's my list? Like, this is a list that like everyone, I'm just doing this because everyone else is doing it. Like we all graduated, we all went to grad school, we all did this, we all, you want to get a big four firm job, but now what? Like, you know, like, where am I in all of this? And so I think when I started to ask those questions about, okay, like I'm happy based on paper, but like, why am I still not like happy? Like, why am I not like waking up excited about things every day, you know, like, and I had to ask myself that question. And then I was like, okay, well, what do I want, you know? And that's really when I started to say, oh, what do I want? That's when all these like revelations started happening. And they were not necessarily revelations. I really do believe that they were things that as a child I knew. And Akila, I think like we can talk about this offline, but like even like friends that I had like when I was young that, or people that I chose, oh, I don't talk to her. It's come full circle even now where I'm like, oh my God, I remember why like I didn't like, I remember why like I am the way that I am. Like I remember all of this from just me being a girl, just knowing this like intuitively. But I think we unlearn a lot of that when we're trying to learn how to like, you know, go to like the top school, how to like beat out the competition to do XYZ, how to like land that job. I think we unlearn a lot about like what we truly want. We're just trying to like fit what the interviewer wants, or fit what the society wants, or fit what our sorority wants. And it's like, what do you want? You know? And I think in life, especially, I think in my mid-20s into now, my approach 30s, it's like, I'm just
We're gonna make
like,
that the title of the episode. We're gonna make it the title. Charmaine is this many years old.
Charmaine's 24. No, but yeah, I keep asking myself, like, okay, if I only have this one little life to live, like, who am I living it for? And like, why? You know? And the answer is for me. And so I have to figure out, you know, every day I have to check in with myself and say, okay, what do you really want? Because I think as women, we are always thinking about what everybody else wants, like everybody else except for us. And it's crazy to me, like how it took all this time, you know, and it takes all this unlearning or relearning. But
Right.
I think that the question that helped me to get to that point of realization was like, oh, where am I in this picture? And like, where are my desires in this picture?
I think that goes great. And I think a lot of people, I feel like when you're elevating to like another level, this is really the basis of what people say when you hear people talk about like, I was able to do this because I made steps to get there, right? Like and a lot of people say cutting out negative energy, cutting out the negative people. But the question here is like, how do you know that person or that energy or that space or this whatever was negative?
So
because
easy.
The thing is like you thought it was okay at one time, right? So now how are you then determining that like this now doesn't serve you?
But I think even when we think it's okay, we know it's not. Like you have little signs that you just have learned to ignore. Like that feeling when someone says something and that feeling in your gut, you're like, oh, or like you feel embarrassed or you feel ashamed, or like your friend says something and you're like, why the fuck? Oh, sorry. And you're like, why would she ever say something like that? You know, like in your head, like we have these triggers every day. We just like learn to suppress them. Like even when your mom says something and you're just like, you feel that energy, like that feeling that courses through your body when you're like, oh, like, you know, that icky feeling, like, you know, I feel like we just learn how to live with it, and it's not okay. Like, I think
either learn how to live with it or feel like you're not enough without it. You know what I mean? So it's
yes.
You know, and you just because you feel like that person or that thing needs to be around or you can't be, you hang around with it.
That's why women stay in relationships for so long.
Talk about it.
Being served, you know, where it's not like for them, but like, you know, that's the piece. Akil, I love that you said that. It's like you get used to it, you feel like you deserve it, you get addicted to it, and you don't even know, like, you don't even know that you're vibing so low that you can't, you feel like you have no choice but to accept that, and that's sad.
Yes. Oh, we can, I mean, that's need to be a part 2, but
yeah.
Well, generally, Charmaine, like, what's next for you? We talked about a lot of things that you have done and the path that you are on now, but like, what's your goal? Like, what are you trying to do?
I'm trying to get on YouTube. I'm really, I love this. I love being able to like talk to, the thing about YouTube with me, I'm like, oh, like, I don't want to talk to a screen. I don't want to just do fashion. I just don't want to, but like, I like to talk to women. So like talking to you guys is like so cool. I really want to get onto YouTube. I want to share more of like my personality in a way that, you know, is like just a straight talk kind of thing, like not like on. So I think YouTube is like my next, I think YouTube and TikTok are like the big places for creators these days. And so I think YouTube is really what's next for me. And so I'm really going to try my best to come up with a plan for that platform.
Girl,
good luck, because we're still figuring it out. Yeah, good luck, Joe.
Well, we'll come on and talk to you about TikTok and YouTube and
yes, I would love that.
Share our little experiences that, you know, because it's been a journey. We've been on a journey. Yeah.
I know.
What else is a journey? What else is a journey, Ebony? Tell us.
Listen, okay, the journey that y'all need to get on and hop on immediately is following the Black Creators Club. So continue to subscribe, support us any way that you can. You know, we also take donations, but you know, whatever, we'll just slip that in there. Okay. Please also shop our merch. That's on our website, theblackcreatorsclub.com. If you want to be a guest or think someone would be an amazing guest, please email us, the blackcreatorsclub@gmail.com. All these .coms and all these things, child. Everything's at the Black Creators Club, okay, period. Follow, subscribe, like, and comment, okay, and then rate us on Apple Podcasts. So you already know where to find us. You guys, we've been doing this for so long at this point. Like, it's ridiculous if you don't know what's going on. So tap in, tune in, and it's all right there for you.
There we go. We're not done with you yet, Charmaine. Okay. I had a name for this game, but I actually am going to call it Manny's Blazing.
Okay. Screen name.
That's whole screen name. That's everything. I was talking to a friend yesterday about like the name belts that we all used to have, and I was
oh my God.
Like, so if you didn't have a name belt, this is after this game.
What is a name belt? What is this? What is this?
Maybe it was just in New York. I don't know, but like
it was very heavy in New York.
It was very heavy. Like everyone had, so like it's your name, right? Or some nickname or whatever else. You would get it made into a belt. So literally your name would be on this belt. And yeah, some would even light up. Some had the jewels around it.
Mm-hmm. I had little jewels.
Wait, and you guys I thought that was like a guy thing. Like you guys would literally be walking around with this like name belt thing on.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need to see photos.
Actually,
I need to see photos immediately. I don't know why you've kept this a secret for so long, but I've got to see photos.
Maybe not.
Yeah. I know, I'm like, that's my brand.
Yes. So in this game, what we're gonna do is name a event, and you'll say kind of what you think someone or what you would wear to that event. And I probably want to add to it. If you can say something that you would tell yourself before you walk out the door to go to that event, right?
Oh, cool.
Yes. So the first event is a baecation. You're going on a baecation. What is one outfit that you would wear, and what's something that you would tell yourself before you hop on that plane?
Okay. If I was going on vacation, I would definitely bring my gold swimsuit. It's from J. Crew. It's like a one-sided swimsuit. And I have this like cover up that is like it's like mesh, like tan. It looks really nice. And I'll bring my gold Tivas and my Free People sunglasses and my Marnie bag. Okay. Because I really love that outfit. It makes me feel confident. And one thing I always say to myself before stepping out of the plane or going to the plane or whatever for my vacation is don't feel rushed into doing anything you don't want to do.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay, baecation. Okay, that sounds like somebody getting flued out over there. Okay, got it. Your next thing is a girls trip. We are chilling. You're going on a girls trip. These are my favorite. What outfit are we bringing, and what are we telling ourselves before we hang around all these energies?
Okay, girls trip. Oh, I think for girls trip, I would bring. Okay, I'm gonna bring an outfit that I brought to our girls trip, Akila, because the reason why I'm gonna bring this outfit is because Akila told me, she was like, "You are the hottest thing tonight. Go get us to the club." And I was like, "Wow, that was such a nice compliment." So I would bring, like a black corset top with a cute black mini skirt, a fitted mini skirt, because it really makes my curves look nice, and some comfortable but walkable, but really cute heels, maybe mid, like 2-inch, 3-inch, no, 2-inch, 1-inch. And then I would tell myself, oh, and a nice designer bag. And I would tell myself not to judge and be kind.
I like that.
Like, I don't like to put out the narrative that girls are catty, but I do feel like sometimes it's really easy just to be like, and judge your friends when it's like, girl, we're all the same.
We all have our moments. Love that. So the next event is brunch. You're just going to brunch. It could be a mixed crowd. It could be, with your girls again. Just what are you bringing or what are you wearing and telling yourself before you go to brunch?
If I were going to brunch, I would wear like a kimono. I'm really into like silk and like satin lately. So I would wear like a kimono with a matching dress, kind of like what I'm wearing today. And some like easy like slip on mules or whatever. And then I would tell myself not to drink too much.
Listen
anymore.
Listen, one or two mimosas. I'm done.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Listen, I feel you.
Bring the carafe.
Oh my God, things got chaotic.
You see, Akila will get you in trouble. You got to be careful when you're with her because she'd be ready to just. She'd be ready. That's the problem. You'd be like, all right, girl.
My most fun nights with Akila.
Yes, I love that.
Graduation party after Columbia.
Oh my goodness, that was a moment.
That was really fun.
Yeah, no, Keeks is a lot of fun. So the next one is working from home. You're working from home. You want to get a cute little outfit together before you're on all these Zoom calls. And what are you telling yourself before you start the work with all the emails and all the Zoom calls and all the craziness?
I would wear like a cute matching set. So I have this like, sometimes I wear like bright colors. I would wear this like pink set that I have from Beyond Yoga because it's really comfortable, but it's cute and it makes me feel like, I got dressed up, but I'm so comfortable. And I would wear these, some cute slippers. And I would just tell myself, before I started my day, I'd be like, Charmaine, this is just a job. This is not your whole life. And just take it one step at a time. Don't overthink it. And that's what I always tell myself, like, girl, this is
like that's yeah.
Job. This is not your life, and you are more than this job. Mm-hmm. Crazy. At work, we let work take over our lives, and that's not what we're placed here to do. So.
Right. Love that. Love that. And the last one, okay, you're just spending a day in the city, whether you want to have, let's say you want to have a Carrie Bradshaw moment. You're just walking around, living your life in the city of your dreams. So what is something that you would wear, something that you would tell yourself before you close that door and walk on out?
I would definitely wear comfortable shoes or sneakers because I do not like feeling uncomfortable. I would probably wear a dress or a skirt. Because I feel like most feminine where I'm wearing like dresses or skirts, and that's just like what I like to do, and or a cute top. And I would just tell myself to live life to the fullest. That's what I would do because I do live my life to the fullest. And I feel
Yes,
like that's me well.
Love that. Love that. Yay. So many outfit choices.
I know, I'm like, oh my God.
Yes, Charmaine, this was so much fun. And just like, honestly, like, I feel like hearing a different side of you, different side of your life and all of that too. So this has been a really great conversation. Hope y'all enjoyed too, those that are listening and watching. But Charmaine, let our listeners know where they can find you, where they can keep up, and just anything else you want to share.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. You guys are so amazing. And for those of you listening, if you want to follow me or find me, all of my handles are charmaine.charmant. So that's how you find me, my full government name, which I did not think through when I started all my stuff. But that's me, and that's where you can find me.
Love it.
Listen, your name is perfect. Your name is a perfect brand. So
Thank you.
Charmaine Charmant. Can you imagine, like, oh, what is that? That is Charmaine Charmant. Like, I could see it. I literally could see it. I could see
Let's
it.
hope. Let's keep that positive energy going for me, ladies. Thank
A
you.
cute little fashion line. Because I'm trying to wear Charmaine Charmant, honey. I'm trying to wear some Charmants. I love it. Yes. Yes. And so you guys can find me chatting everything Black owned business and of course the Black Creators Club at Evan A. Chapman 12 on Instagram. Akilah?
Yes, you can find me chatting media and life motivation, all with a dash of style at Akilah Friends. And of course, you can find and keep up with the Black Creators Club at the Black Creators Club on all platforms. This has been so awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. And remember to always abide by your ABCs.
Always be creating. Bye, guys.
Bye.